Some tips to prepare for a child custody hearing. Hi, I'm Alycia Kinchloe, the owner of Kinchloe Law, a family law practice based out of the Philadelphia area. Now, when you're preparing for your custody hearing, it's important that you speak with an attorney licensed in your state about the facts specific to your case and the relevant laws. But I'm going to give some general tips here, okay? So, the first thing to do to prepare for your custody hearing is to read your notice completely. A lot of times people fail to read the full notice, and I've seen things like not realizing that they were responsible for bringing the child to court to testify because the child was in their custody, or just that the judge expected them to bring the child there in case there needed to be an exchange of custody at the time of the hearing. And judges can get very upset if you don't follow what's in that order for you to appear. So, and even virtually, there are certain requirements that you must conform to in order to be in compliance with your order. So, make sure that you read it front to back and that you understand it. All right, the second thing is to understand the laws in the state where you are. Okay, so in Pennsylvania, there are statutes that govern the way that we decide custody. There are also case law, so cases that have been decided over time have continued to help make people understand how the statutes or the laws are to be applied in certain situations. And sometimes they fill in gaps where the laws do not speak directly to a specific issue or situation. So you want to get familiar with it. And of course, that can be a lot to do. And that's why having an attorney who practices family law can really help you, because they should be spending a significant amount of time staying abreast of all the changes in law and understanding just what they are. So, first one is to read your order. Second one is to be familiar with the laws of your state, and then also to be aware of the local rules. Your county is going to have their own rules on what they want you to do when filing your documents and in preparing for court, whether or not you need to prepare briefs or memos or some other proposed order. So you want to make sure that you understand what the local rules are and what your judge prefers you to do. And a lot of times that information will come from the court or the judge's administrative staff. All right, the next thing you want to do is get your evidence together. And again, you're thinking along the lines of what you're trying to prove and understanding that evidence can come in a variety of forms. It can be text messages, it can be photos, it can be email, it can be by testimony. So, testimony can also be a way for you to present information or evidence to the judge. And you want to understand well before the hearing exactly how you're supposed to present that evidence. Again, this kind of goes back to what the local rules are, and then understanding the overall state rules. What do you have to do if you want to have a witness testify, if you want to have an expert witness testify? There are certain qualifications that an expert witness must meet in order to be able to provide expert testimony. So you want to make sure that you understand what the rules are for the types of evidence that you want to present. If you want to present video evidence, especially in an era where we're doing a lot of things virtually, you want to understand just how that's supposed to happen. It can be very difficult to present it over Zoom or Ring Central, but it can also be difficult to present it in court. And a lot of times, the court's administrative staff may not have the technology available in the courtroom unless you give them prior notice. And then sometimes they require as much as 30 days prior notice to be able to put those things together. So you really want to make sure that you understand what it is that you need to be able to even present your evidence, and then whether or not it's evidence that can be presented. Have you downloaded it or presented it in the right format for it to be accepted as evidence? So there's a lot of nuances there, and sometimes it can be very difficult even for attorneys to navigate what's appropriate types of evidence. And then understand sometimes too that in some family proceedings, the rules can be relaxed. So you don't know whether or not it's going to be admitted or not if you don't know what the rules are and how your judge or your master typically handles their courtroom or their hearing room. Another thing that you want to do, and this is a little bit more nuanced, is think about the way that you present yourself. You want to think about how you look. And that doesn't mean you need to have a $3,000 suit on, but you want to remember that you're going to court. And even when it's virtual court, you want to make sure that you understand that you're still in technically a court of law. They still expect you to behave that way. I've seen situations and I've heard stories of where people are doing things that they may do if they're just on FaceTime or maybe on Instagram Live or something like that, and they're not thinking about the fact that they should pretend that they're actually in court. So people sometimes are, drinking their coffee or not dressed the way that they should be dressed. You want to treat it the same way. So make sure you're dressed professionally and you're dressed for the occasion, which is very serious because we're deciding outcomes regarding your children. So make sure that you kind of take that into consideration. You want to think too about your tone, your temperament, and how you present yourself in court and how that goes to the narrative or the story that you're telling to the court about why you believe that your position is the one that the court should support. So just make sure you're taking all of that into consideration. Now, that's a lot of tips. A lot of them are highly specific to the practice of law in family court. Again, a lot of things are specific to laws, case law, things that the average person may not read on. And then you have to understand too that some of the information that you get online may not be specific to your particular case or your jurisdiction. So that's why I always encourage you guys to speak to an attorney licensed in your area about the facts specific to your case, because things really do and really can turn on a subtle nuance or a little known case and can make a world of difference in whether or not the position that you want is advanced properly and whether or not the case is ultimately decided in your favor. All right, I hope these few tips helped you. Again, make sure that you hit subscribe and hit the little notification bell so that each time we drop a new video, you get a little ring. We're doing a video every day of 2021 on custody, divorce, or support. Drop in the comments if you have anything else you would like to share, anything that you found helpful in your custody hearing. If you feel like any of these tips were something that you hadn't thought about, I love to hear more about that. And of course, if there are any topics you would like us to cover in our daily videos, please make sure you drop them in the comments because these videos are here for you. All right, until next time, take care.